Morning News on Fox 14. Today, former President Trump's defense attorneys make their argument in the impeachment trial.
To talk about what it can mean to bare skin exposure as our wind chills are consistently below the zero mark. All the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And how well can dating apps work out? We hear one story. The KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. House prosecutors wrap up their arguments against former President Donald Trump Thursday, which was yesterday, by pointing out a Capitol riot could happen again if he is not convicted. And now it's his defense team's turn. Sources say they'll only use a fraction of their allotted 16 hours to make a few simple points. They'll use their time attempting to show no connection between former President Trump and the January 6th insurrection. And video examples, they say, demonstrate Democratic leaders using what they call similar language to the former president. After an 18-hour manhunt, Parsons, Kansas police arrest a homicide suspect. They say that suspect is 29-year-old Malcolm Odom from Parsons. He was arrested at a house on the 1400 block of Partridge in Parsons. Authorities say he was found hiding under a couch. Police say Odom shot and killed 22-year-old Levi Kendricks early this morning. Police say Odom was out on parole and had a felony warrant issued for his arrest by the Kansas Department of Corrections. The Labette County Sheriff's Office is assisting in the investigation. Police in northwestern Missouri say 2 men have been fatally shot by another man in a dispute over firewood. Police in Parkville say the deadly confrontation happened last night after 2 men in a truck hauling firewood met with another man at a Platte County home to sell the firewood. Police say there was a dispute and the men with the firewood left. Police believe the other man then followed the truck and fired shots at both men inside. Police say the driver of the truck died at the scene. The passenger was taken to a hospital where he later died. Police have not released the names of the men killed or the suspect who was arrested. Missouri health officials say their optimistic efforts to provide COVID-19 vaccines will expand soon, both in terms of increased vaccine availability and the number of approved vaccinators. The head of the state health department says next month Missouri expects to receive a significant amount of a new Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which requires only 1 shot. At the same time, vaccinations will begin tomorrow at some Missouri Walmart and Sam's Clubs, and the state will begin using retired healthcare workers to administer those shots. Positive message came as Governor Mike Parsons complained to Missouri mayors about constant criticism in the media about the state's vaccination efforts. Joplin's Olivia building might get some new life after all. The Joplin City Council will soon discuss a proposed investment for the redevelopment of the building. Bicoda REI LLC out of Colorado is considering buying and developing the property, which was recently damaged in a fire which resulted in the roof collapsing. Company is asking the city for an investment agreement of up to $250,000. The agreement will be discussed at next Tuesday's council meeting. Diamond School District is using tools they acquired because of the pandemic to change snow days. Now, instead of kids being out for the day, they learn virtually through Google Classrooms. It doesn't take away from their entire day off. It's just a few hours of lessons, but school officials say it helps the kids stay on track.
Because we've been able to keep up and make sure our kids are on track with what they're doing, with what we need them to know and learn. So it's a very good alternative and make sure that they're still learning and they're not falling so far behind to where we're going to have to backtrack as much.
Even PE is done virtually. The kids record themselves doing an assigned physical activity and send that to their instructor. With those cold temps set to get even worse, an area church is stepping up to help people in need. Carterville First Baptist Church has started a warming station in their sanctuary. People can come in to get warm, get a hot coffee or snack, and then leave with a blanket to take with them. Volunteers at the church say they wanted to help fill a gap since not many others are providing warming stations in the community.
That's another reason why we decided to open that up here, is like Webb City and Carterville and Oronogo, Carthage. Yeah, we don't really have much.
Our whole goal is just to care about people, and this is a small way to do it, just opening our doors, turning the heat up, and inviting people in.
Our main station is open from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., so the church is looking for more volunteers. You can learn how to get involved on our website, koamnewsnow.com. Wendy's social media team is celebrating National Roast Day. It's a day where people mercilessly mock each other, which is directly in the wheelhouse of the burger chain that's gained popularity online for doing just that. No one's safe. Well, no one who asked to be roasted is safe, including Pitt State. Yes, the Guerrilla social media team asked for Wendy's to roast them. And Wendy's took the easy route, pointing out that, Pittsburgh, Kansas and Pennsylvania connection, that drop the H thing. They wrote, "Incredible. You are a worse Pittsburgh than Pittsburgh." Sorry, I think that's lame. That's my opinion. They could have come up with something
You don't
better.
get the joke?
I get it, but I think it's lame. They could have done better.
Did you get the geographic joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
What geographic joke?
There's a friendly rivalry between Cleveland Browns fans and Pittsburgh Steelers fans?
Yeah, I'm
Wendy's
familiar.
was taking a pot shot at Wendy's is based in Ohio. That was a bunch of Browns fans taking a pot shot.
Will, do we have my tweet? Are you able to pull this up? So, no, the other one first. We gotta go back here. Basically, I tweeted about this because as a native Pittsburgh, Pennsylvanian,
Right.
I felt the need to chime in here. So, Will, do you have the other tweet available?
Okay, as
Maybe
a native
you
of
don't.
Ohio, let me explain to you. That was Ohio taking a pot shot at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
We'll still
Now,
see that.
speaking of having your phones out and being on social media, we got a new thing that I want you to take advantage of, because before we get to our wind chill advisories and talk about this, I also want everybody to be prepared for what's going to happen from Sunday into Monday. And the easiest way to do it is keep up with us on the Skywatch weather app. See that QR code on the right-hand portion of your screen? All you got to do, take your camera on your phone, walk up to your TV screen right now, take a picture of that thing. What it's going to do, send you straight to the Skywatch weather app. That's going to be downloadable for you right there. You have the weather at your fingertips all the way through the weekend, for the snowstorm that's a-coming, for severe weather season when it gets here that spring. And once again, it's as easy as walking up to your TV screen, taking a picture of that QR code. I'm going to bring that back here in just a little bit, but first let's talk about our main threat on this Friday morning, wind chill advisory all throughout the 4 states as temperatures range from about 6 to 12 degrees. The wind chill advisory is because of our north wind coming in at double digits, where we see 3 below zero at the Freeman Health System sky camera. We've actually seen as low as -11. Now we're sitting at -9 in Iola, -8 in Nevada and Stockton, Carthage and Webb City dipping down to -3 as well. We still have a fair amount of closings, not as many as we had past couple of days, but there you go, right on the bottom of your screen. And remember, that's all available for you on koamnewsnow.com. We have seen a little bit of snow there up in the northeastern section of the 4 states, light flurries throughout, but no freezing precipitation. As we get through the course of today, highs in the teens, as good as we're going to get. And then Saturday will present itself with a little bit of snow in the northwest. More importantly, we're going to watch the freezing rain down here in the southern portion of our highlighted counties. Coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to talk about that large system coming in off the Pacific and just exactly what it means for Valentine's Day and President's Day. Tanya?
The CDC is expected to release guidelines on reopening more schools. The latest on the reopen debate raging across the nation.
And this Valentine's, a couple 4,000 miles apart, is raising the bar on relationship goals. We'll show you how they won't let the pandemic stop their romance. You're watching the KOA Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be back with more after this.
According to Missouri's COVID-19 vaccination database, 8.3% of Jasper County has been vaccinated against the coronavirus. Jasper County Health Department Administrator Tony Moore says that there's no shortage of county residents that want the vaccine and encourages them to sign up on the state's new COVID vaccine navigator.
When we have a clinic, we will list it on that navigator, and anybody that's on that navigator will be notified.
Moore says right now the county is mostly focusing on getting patients their second doses of the vaccine. because the county has not received a new round of first doses recently. But he expects that to change the week after next. If you'd like to register with Missouri's new vaccine navigator, you can find a link to it in this story on KOAMnewsnow.com. CDC yesterday made the recommendation for people to wear 2 masks rather than 1. They suggested wearing a close-fitting cloth mask over a close-fitting surgical mask, saying it offers more protection from the coronavirus. An expert from Freeman Health System says that advice is sound.
So the purpose of the second mask is not really to act as a twice the filter or a better filter, but it's to shut off those gaps. So what you're doing is you're enclosing the sides better, and that's going to make for a better filter.
For the latest coronavirus news, including CDC recommendations, go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Today's the day the CDC is expected to release its guidelines on the best way to safely reopen more schools. And as Britt Conway reports, it comes in the midst of heated debate, lawsuits, and some concerning stats on the issue.
The president will not rest until every school is open 5 days a week. That is our goal.
But how to make that happen is the question, with no one right answer, which is why there's so much angst around CDC guidance on the matter. At this point, it's been a varied approach, sometimes down to the district or even school level, and it continues to be a flashpoint issue around the country. In Wisconsin, there's a plan to divvy up federal COVID-19 aid based on a district's number of in-person school days.
It's still up to the local school board. If they feel it is unsafe to open, don't open. Would you really open for money if you thought it was that unsafe?
In California, the city of San Francisco is seeking an emergency court order to force its public schools to open for in-person instruction. In Minnesota, where schools are under executive order to follow the state's safe learning plan, there's a proposal to strip the governor of the power to change school plans during a peacetime emergency.
We at the local level have a pulse on our community values, and we represent these communities in our decision making. I do not know what the best decisions for Minneapolis public schools are, but I have a good idea what works in Stillwater.
And speaking of work, a Stanford professor warns students in the U.S. could see their lifelong earnings cut by an average of 6 to 9% unless schools are able to make up for learning losses. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
CDC's guidance on reopening schools is expected to outline 5 key strategies: hand washing, masking, social distancing, cleaning and ventilation, as well as contact tracing, isolation, and quarantine. It's a problem many pet owners are familiar with: a cat with a habit of killing birds, mice, and other small animals, and sometimes bringing them home as gifts. Most of us would prefer that our well-fed pets hold off on hunting wildlife, and a new study indicates there's a way to achieve that end. Simple solution, according to the study, may be to play with cats and feed them more meat. Here are some of the details. Feeding a cat premium commercial food with proteins from meat saw a 36% reduction in the number of prey animals brought home. Also, 5 to 10 minutes of daily play resulted in a 25% reduction. That's the point of having cats on my parents' farm, is they like them to eat.
Isn't a little bit of it
Kill prey.
innate?
What's that?
They're hunters.
Yes.
It's in their DNA.
Let them eat the mice.
They hunt.
Let them eat, kill the mice.
Wind chill advisories lasting until 10 a.m. for our light blue counties. The darker color indicating a wind chill advisory that lasts all the way to Saturday. An indicator the cold's not going anywhere. 10 below right now in Independence is what it feels like. 3 below in Carthage. Pittsburgh sits at -6 from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. Actual temperatures 11, but factor in that northeast wind, and that's why we've got to knock about 13, 14 degrees off the temperature compared to what our bodies think it feels like, as these advisories become winter storm watches, become wind chill warnings, and stretch pretty much from the Red River all the way to the Canadian border. Yet to make landfall is what we're looking at right here. Low pressure system coming in off the Pacific Northwest, going to drop down to the Rockies. That's the one that we're eyeballing from Sunday into Saturday. Now, with that being said, still got to get it here, see how much moisture it picks up. And that's why accumulation numbers can't really be set in stone as of yet. We do see some snow falling there in the far northeastern portion, flurries everywhere else. Extremely cold, best thing to do today is stay inside. For Saturday, we'll see a little snow skirt to the northwest. More importantly, Saturday morning, we're looking at the possibility of freezing rain for our southern counties before it turns back into snow, hampering driving conditions once again. Here we go. That's where she makes land on Saturday. Sunday, over the Rockies. It's going to dig into the southern plains, stall out down here, and then come right back up for the northeast and bring us right to the 4-state. So here's that QR code we were talking about. All you got to do, grab your phone right now, take a picture of that on your right-hand side of your screen. That's going to take you right to the Skywatch weather app. You're going to have it on your phone, all your mobile devices. Hey, it's free. That way you can keep in touch with every little portion of this storm as we progress through the weekend. Once again, just take a picture of it on your phone. I'll bring it back here in a little bit if you go need to grab that phone and get that snapshot. Be back right after this.
Near Valentine's Day, couples are trying to figure out how to celebrate during a pandemic. Boy, this is relatable. It's a challenge for everyone, but even more so for couples in long-distance relationships. Michael George introduces us to one couple that's defying the odds.
You look pretty today.
I know! Deb Lomax and Jason Ward are meeting for the first time in their new virtual reality world.
Are you ready for date night?
Yeah, let's do it. They've actually been dating a year and a half, which means most of it has been during the pandemic. And since she lives in London and he lives in Chicago, they've had to get really creative to keep their weekly date night special. The virtual reality headsets were a gift from Ward for Valentine's Day.
We've been in the virtual world, which has been absolutely amazing. I could have never imagined it would be so much fun.
Over the past year, they've tried out recipes together and sent each other a lot of homemade gifts.
I vowed to Deborah that I would not let a pandemic push my love away from her.
Ward traveled to London at Christmas, but says the pandemic made it super stressful and expensive when he had to change his flight for an extra COVID test.
I feel like it's really held us back in a lot of ways. We would have done so much more. I feel like we have been cheated.
But therapist Alicia Munoz says Ward and Lomax are not necessarily worse off.
They might really still be in that sort of biochemical high of in love, which really acts as a huge buffer to conflicts. In long distance relationships, that buffer can stay there longer.
Ward and Lomax video chat every day, but due to current travel restrictions, they have no idea when they'll see each other in person again.
I'm going to be here, she's going to be there, and we're going to do whatever we need to do to make it work.
They say they'll keep finding ways to feel close, even though they're 4,000 miles apart. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
That's adorable. Do you see the clocks on the wall with their time? Oh my goodness. Therapist Alicia says the key to any successful long-distance relationship is communication and good scheduling, or in other words, making sure to get on each other's calendars, or getting a VR headset, apparently. And if you're still not sure what to get your significant other for Valentine's Day, we've got you covered. Just head to KOAMnewsNow.com. You can take a fun, short quiz, and it'll tell you what you should get your sweetheart this Valentine's Day. It works. Trust me. We'll be right back after this.
It's time to honor today's 4-state hero, Dustin Whitten, who served in the United States Army from 2011 to 2012. He fought in Afghanistan, his hometown, Miami, Oklahoma. We are proud to salute Dustin Whitten, our 4-state hero. Well, if the cold isn't bad enough, parts of Kansas could see 7 to 10 inches of snow. The combination could mean tough driving conditions here in the state. Grant DeMars shows us how Kansans are preparing.
Record low temperatures and a possible 7 to 10 inches of snow could mean trouble for Kansas drivers, which is why KDOT is making its plans now.
It is rare. We've had a lot of ice storms lately, a lot of freezing rain, and those seem to have been the norm lately, and those are a little bit harder to work with.
Right now, KDOT is making sure the plows are ready to go.
With a big snowstorm, our crews will plow and plow and plow, and then once we are plowed out, we will treat the roadways. So it's a little bit in a way, it's a little easier to work with snow.
But if you're out on the road, there are still risks. Sean Stewart with AAA says this week, calls for roadside assistance have skyrocketed just because of the temperature. And paired with snow, he expects to be even busier.
This weekend, it sounds like we're going to have sort of the 1-2 punch of the snow and the super cold single-digit highs. It may take us a little bit of extra time just to get through all those calls and get out to help people.
The best way to keep safe is just to stay home, but even then, staying warm could be a challenge. Manager of Westlake, Ace Hardware, says they're selling more firewood right now than ever and expects a last-minute boom in sales for winter weather essentials.
Very much expect to clean up with snow shovels and ice melt and move it out for the year, but we're just in early February, so there's probably still more to come in March, I would imagine.
He says if you need any of these items, you should buy them now before the weather gets bad and they sell out.
Well, another half hour of news and weather just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, printing a house.
Welcome to the first ever 3D printed home that is now on the market. I'm Christina Parts-Nevelis in Calverton, New York. How 3D printed homes could address housing affordability. That's coming up.
Now we speak with two four-state healthcare workers about their experience with dating apps. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. After an 18-hour manhunt, Parsons, Kansas police arrest a homicide suspect. They say that suspect is 29-year-old Malcolm Odom from Parsons. He was arrested at a house on the 1400 block of Partridge in Parsons. Authorities say he was found hiding under a couch. Police say Odom shot and killed 22-year-old Levi Kendricks early Thursday morning. Police say Odom was out on parole and had a felony warrant issued for his arrest by the Kansas Department of Corrections. The Labette County Sheriff's Office is assisting in the investigation. Missouri police say they're trying to find a funeral van that was stolen with a woman's body inside. It happened in St. Louis County on Thursday. Police say the van was left running and unattended at a gas station parking lot when someone saw an opportunity. Police have released descriptions of two suspects, a man and a woman. They believe the vehicle is now in the Godfrey, Illinois area. Anyone with tips on the case should contact the St. Louis County Police or Crime Stoppers. Missouri health officials say their optimistic efforts to provide COVID-19 vaccines will expand soon, both in terms of increased vaccine availability and the number of approved vaccinators. The head of the state health department says next month, Missouri expects to receive a significant amount of a new Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which requires only one shot. At the same time, vaccinations will begin today at some Missouri Walmart and Sam's Clubs, and the state will begin using retired healthcare workers to administer those shots. Positive message came as Governor Mike Parsons complained to Missouri mayors about constant criticism in the media about the state's vaccination efforts. Students in the Diamond School District in Missouri have still been going to school the past few days virtually. It's all thanks to Google Classroom. Kids go online 2 or 3 hours a day to get academic work done. The PE teacher jots down a physical activity the kids should do, and the kids send back a video of them doing that activity. Staying in touch. With those cold temps set to get even worse, an area church is stepping up to help people in need. Carterville First Baptist Church has started a warming station in its sanctuary. People can come in to get warm, get a hot coffee or snack, and then leave with a blanket to take with them. Volunteers at the church say they wanted to help fill a gap since not many others are providing warming stations in the community. A massive ice-related wreck in Fort Worth, Texas leaves at least 3 people dead. The incident happened yesterday morning on Interstate 35. Police say about 100 cars, including multiple 18-wheelers, were caught in the wreck. This caused heavy traffic on both the northbound and southbound lanes of the highway. Fort Worth fire officials say many people suffered injuries due to the series of collisions.
We still have our own road concerns. You can find all the latest road conditions at komnewsnow.com. And scrolling the closings, whether they be organizations, activities, businesses, and of course schools, right there on the bottom of your screen. We want to talk winter weather safety because we've got a wind chill advisory. Look, you've been wearing one of these all week long because this is our 5th consecutive day of below freezing temperatures. I want to point out a couple other safety measures that we need headed into the weekend. Number 1, little product placement. You need to wear a hat. Number 2, make sure you got gloves, because when you get this cold that we've got a wind chill advisory, we're talking about exposed skin that can be damaged in as little as half an hour if left open to the elements. No, we're not talking COVID precaution right here. That's up to you. What I am saying, cover your face up as well. Very important. Also too, when you leave home, make sure you call family, friends, let them know when you leave. Let them know when you arrive. Chances are you got your phone on you right now. And so what you need to do, go ahead, open up your camera, because on the right-hand side of your screen is our new QR code. All you have to do is take a picture of that, and it's going to deliver you right to the Skywatch weather app. That's right. One little snap of your camera phone, and you're going to have complete 4-state weather at your disposal 24 hours a day. You can even pinpoint your location to even make it more exact to exactly where you are or where you're going. Snap that picture right there. Download the Skywatch weather app for free. Let's go ahead and talk about what we've got as we head into the weekend. Wind chills as low as 9 below in Iola and Fort Scott, Nevada and Stockton. Only 4 degrees in Commerce and 3 right now in Carthage. From the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, true temperature of 11 only feels like it's 3 below, as our real temperatures range from about 6 to 15 degrees. These advisories, warnings, they go from the Red River all the way to the Canadian border, and the Skywatch storm tracker with deep cold pressing in to the southeastern portion of the United States. We are picking up some flurries, even some legitimate snow as it pushes off to the eastern portion of the United States. And as we work through the course of our day, temperatures only in the teens. Future Track will show a little light snow in the northwestern portion for Saturday, but more importantly, how about some freezing rain that presents itself on Saturday as well? The big system, Pacific Northwest, makes landfall on Saturday. Sunday digs into the southern plains and then back up to the northeast. That's why we were talking about a good amount of snow developing on Sunday all the way through Monday, and single-digit temperatures. Remember, keep those phones charged as well. We'll be back right after this. KOAM News Now Facebook page for Valentine's Day, asking how you met your significant other, and just marvelous stories that you all are sending in. Judy Moore writes, I met my hubby when my cousin stole his Doritos and left his beer. He chased her down to our apartment. When he came in, I was eating them. Came back ever since, been together 38 years, married for 36. Life's about timing, Judy. Elaine Brown, we met on New Year's Eve when we were both 18 years old. He proposed the same year on Thanksgiving, which is also his birthday, at my parents' home. We were married in June the following year, married 55 years, 2 children, 7 grandchildren. Diane, thank you so much for that as well. Just marvelous stories this morning. The KOAM Insta poll asking if you have any Valentine's Day plans. 78% say no, but probably a combination of COVID and weather, to be honest with you. Hey, I'll take the fall for the weather part. Now over to Jesse in Studio C.
Well, over the past decade, dating apps have helped millions of people find all types of love, but how successful can they be? We spoke with 2 4-state healthcare workers who both decided to give it a try.
We actually met on Bumble. Online app, yeah. So not too crazy of a story there. It's much more accepted now, I get that. But there is still kind of a weirdness to it. It's, I don't know. It just seems kind of odd. People are just connecting through, without actually meeting, and then it goes from there instead of the other way around.
To me, it's really not a ton different than real life. I mean, people have meet people and they go on great dates and they get married. People meet people and they go on horrible dates and they have a horrible story to tell. So same thing with dating apps. It's some people have good stories, some people have average stories, some people have these awesome stories. Because that day I was like in a good mood swiping, yeah, sure, yeah, sure. Some days I'd be like, no.
And so she kind of joked, she's like, I could have just been in a bad mood that day and completely swiped left on you. And so yeah, it feels a little serendipitous, everything does have to match up just right.
I think under one of the hobbies, Steven put people watching. And I messaged, people watching is pretty fun.
That's a great interest.
And it was right after the new year, so I said, how is 2018 treating you?
And then I said, 4 days in and no monumental screw-ups, so I'll call that a win so far.
For years, I probably didn't put myself out there as much as I should. And so I feel like dating apps allowed me to be a little bit braver behind the scenes and gather my facts before I took the jump and met one-on-one with an individual.
Yeah, she always jokes that we'll write Bumble a letter, to tell them our success story. But honestly, we were kind of both at a point in our lives where we were feeling a little hopeless in the whole dating game, because that does tend to happen, especially the older you get. But yeah, we just connected, and now I plan to make her my wife.
Well, little confession, that was actually in 2019. Jessica and Steve are now married, and last week brought a baby into the world. Not too bad for a dating app, huh? We'll be right back after this.
Well, the world's first 3D printed home is for sale on Long Island in New York. Christina Parsons is there and gives us a tour.
Home sweet home. The future is now here because this is a 3D printed home. It's going to be available in Riverhead, New York, which is right near the Hamptons. The price tag is a little bit shy of $300,000. If that sounds like a lot, that's because the actual land itself was $150,000 plus all of those extra fees. But let's take a look inside. There's no furniture, hence the echo right now, but this entire room here, the foundation, the walls, were all created by one robot. You can see how it just laid out the concrete in slabs. I spoke to the man with a plan, Kirk Anderson, about how they actually built this.
We build this autonomously with a giant gantry portable machine on site. We come in with layer by layer. We extrude concrete. You can see this is the story right here. We start at the bottom, go all the way to the top. We follow the floor plan. So this is an example of what you can put inside the walls. So there's the 1.5, 1.5, and whatever geometry you want to put in here.
This home is 41% built by a robot. Of course, you need some extra labor work for the finishings, the frames, the kitchen, and the roof. But according to the engineers of the firm, it's about achieving affordable housing for many, and it continues to be an issue, which is why they believe that you're going to see more of these 3D printed homes in the future.
That is so cool. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Not only is it hard to steal the show from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you don't do it. But if anybody can do it, it's his own talented mother, who evidently has a gift for showmanship, just like her son. It was a musical moment made for TV, yet completely unplanned, bringing viewers a heartwarming mother-son duet. Jeannie Moose reports.
After Jimmy Fallon's introduction,
The Rock himself, Dwayne Johnson, is here!
Fallon found himself between a rock and a sweet spot.
Your mom plays the ukulele?
Oh, yes. Give my mom really quickly and tell her to bring the ukulele. It's right there. Come here, I want you to say hello to somebody you know.
Oh.
It's Jimmy Fallon.
The Rock's 72-year-old mom started strumming.
Valley, valley, needs go for a walk.
Achieving the impossible, overshadowing The Rock.
Fat Orleans, I love you. Take it easy.
Online, Ada Johnson's performance got all A's for adorable. Fallon knew to ask about her ukulele playing because he'd seen a video posted by The Rock of the two of them singing at the grave of Dwayne's grandparents in Hawaii.
Around the world, I search for you.
Here's young Dwayne dancing with his grandmother. His grandfather was a pro wrestler and Samoan chief.
Mom and Daddy, for you. Let me hear you whisper.
Jimmy Fallon wasn't whispering.
Come on, are you joking me?
No, we don't have one more. What do you mean we have one more?
Oh, yes, they did.
We love you, Jimmy. Oh, yes,
We do. Okay, I'll go with it.
The Rock later tweeted, "My mom clearly loves Jimmy Fallon. I think more than me, as she's never sung this song to me."
When we're away from you, we're blue.
No one was blue by the end of this segment.
You just stole the interview. You're unbelievable.
I love when she goes, "We got one more." I'm like, "What? We do?"
And after one last mock attempt to make her leave,
Leave, Mom.
scene stealer mom planted a kiss on her son's bald but maybe not so swelled head.
Michael, I have no idea what happened in that story because we could only hear the voiceover. Could you reenact all of that for us?
You know, they showed a picture there of his grandfather, her father. You know, he's in a Wrestling Hall of Fame too.
I did not know that.
Yeah, The Rock's grandfather, his dad, Rocky, and him are all in Professional Wrestling Hall of Fames.
That's really cool.
Isn't that pretty
I didn't
cool?
know that. Huh. Were they pretty legendary wrestlers themselves? I mean, I
there's
guess if
a
they're in the
great
hall.
story about her mom, her grandmother. I think she was the first Polynesian wrestling champion.
That's awesome.
Professional wrestling champion. Yeah, it's a pretty cool family story.
Is that what that story was about just now?
No, I think that was just about her having a good time. All right, I want everybody to go grab your phone, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. Let's take a look at our weather almanac for this February 12th. See that low of 3 degrees? Luckily, we're not going to get there, but our wind chills are already way below that. We've got a wind chill advisory in effect for our counties in light blue, lasting until this morning at 10 a.m. Now, this darker offset color, that's still a wind chill advisory, but it lasts all the way into Saturday, so the cold's not going anywhere. Now, hopefully, you went and grabbed your phone, or maybe you just had it with you right now. Go ahead and open up your camera right there. Take a picture of that QR code on the right-hand side. That's right. All you got to do is walk up to your television, take a snapshot of that picture right there. It's going to deliver you to where to download the Skywatch weather app. And it's not just for the cold weather that we have today, but also what's impending this weekend. Let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what we're looking at wind chill wise. We're down to 9 below in Iowa, 9 below in Nevada, 2 below in Webb City, and -3 right now in Carthage. From the Freeman Health System sky camera, that snow's not going to go anywhere, and that's thanks in part to the north-northeast wind that's taken about a 13-14 degree difference off of these temperatures and putting us down into the negatives. The wind chill warnings, advisories, winter weather advisories stretching pretty much all the way from the Red River up to the Canadian border. So, number one, we consume ourselves with a cold front for the next 2 days. After that, we turn our attention to the Pacific Northwest. There's going to be a big low-pressure system. Hasn't exactly made landfall yet. That's not going to happen until Saturday, but once it does, it's going to take this track right here, and we'll get there in future track here in just a second. We'll take care of some cleanup here on a Friday. Well, we do have a laundry list of closings that you see on the bottom of your screen, and also, too, you can find those on KOAMnewsnow.com. Flurries throughout the course of our Friday. For Saturday, little snow's going to skirt to the northwest, but more importantly, freezing precipitation wants to present itself down south of I-44 and clip our counties in Missouri and northeast Oklahoma, where we've already had severe driving conditions. There's our low pressure, makes land on Saturday. Watch this thing come over the Rockies, dig down into the southern plains, and then wants to, don't you do that, wants to stall out on us right about here and then make a northeasterly track back up on Sunday into Monday. And so that's why we're keeping our eyes on that as far as our accumulation numbers. We need this thing to make landfall first, then we can kind of break that down. But yeah, we have been talking anywhere from 3 to 4 inches. There are estimates in central Kansas. There are 7 to 10 inches. So like I said, as the day goes on, we'll get a better idea. But look at that, 9 and 6 on Valentine's Day and President's Day. We'll be right back. Wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Former President Trump's defense team begins its arguments today in Mr. Trump's Senate impeachment trial. House managers serving as prosecutors wrapped up their case, urging senators to convict on the single charge of incitement of insurrection after the attack on the Capitol. They argue the former president poses a future threat to democracy if he's acquitted and not barred from running for office again. President Biden announced the U.S. has signed contracts for 100 million more doses each of the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. The order will increase the amount of Pfizer and Moderna doses in the U.S. by 50% to a total of 600 million, enough for 300 million people by the end of the summer. Jazz musician Chick Corea, who won 23 Grammy Awards and performed over the years with the likes of Miles Davis and Herbie Hancock, has died. The pianist had a rare form of cancer. That's according to his website. Chick Corea was 79. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Variation of one of my sayings, except today it's how cold is your cold. So we've got wind chill advisories all through the morning, southeast Kansas, all to tomorrow. Only going to make it into the teens. Next shot for severe weather going to be Saturday morning. Chance for freezing rain in the southeastern portion of the 4 states.
All right, ahead of Valentine's Day, let's take a pause for some puppy love. Yeah, I said it. These dogs got married in a ceremony at Greenville County Animal Care in South Carolina on Thursday. They're Sassy and Sparrow, and they spent the event soaking up attention and munching doggy cake. The pups are heartworm survivors, and their marriage raised money for the Have a Heartworm Fund, which allows the shelter to cover the cost of heartworm treatment. It's a kind of wedding gift. The shelter has been waiving adoption fees all week long. That's cool.
We gave Michael a QR code. Make sure you check that out. But thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning.
More news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.